thanks, John and Rose and Phelim, for attending the committee and for all the work you're doing. It's really important work. Critical for our country and our society is that there's a sustainable supply of social and affordable homes. We've a whole decade to catch up on here, and I'm sure you're acutely aware of the desperate need. So we welcome all your efforts and support them. Just to follow on that discussion about the affordability, because I do think this is key for people. I welcome, John, you benchmarking the affordability at people's income. And I also accept that there isn't one simple and accepted definition of it. But would you agree that in the instance of Deputy Gould's scenario there in Cork, that if somebody was earning up to €35,000 in Cork City, they would then qualify for social housing, and it would be only people who would be earning in excess of €35,000 who would be targeted for the affordable rental and the affordable. Is that correct, John?
That's correct, Senator. So, look, I'd hasten to add, look, we will be providing social housing on the schemes as well. It's just that the particular tenure cost rental is targeted at people that don't qualify for social housing, which is set by net income levels in the different jurisdictions. But the challenge is, of course, we want to demonstrate that what we're producing is affordable to people. And we're also trying to marry that to a well-proven concept of cost rental, which is sustainable because it covers its costs. And that's what we're trying to marry the two. And of course, we need to cover the costs on one side, but I think the challenge is to demonstrate to the broad range of middle-income people that we're targeting here that it is also affordable to them. So they're the two concepts we're trying to marry.
Yeah, look, it's really important that, yes, it's affordable, we get that right, but also that the whole thing is viable. There's no point in us, the first 20,000 tenants getting a great deal and then there being nothing into the future. So absolutely, I get that point. Can I just also ask you, in terms of the affordability then, like you have different income households, you'd have one household maybe, with a two-bedroom unit that may have two incomes into it, or even three, let's say, if there was an adult child as well. But you would have other households where there might only be one income. Will that be taken into account in calculating the affordability of the rents?
I think when we look at the rent setting, the cost rental is again based on the costs that are going to be produced. I think where you're getting to is the bands of people and the incomes that qualify. My understanding is regulations to be set in terms of a scheme of priorities. I think local authorities will have very significant leeway in influencing that. I understand there's a simplified approach going to be taken to that. So the target market will be assessed by regulation. But I agree with you that where the money coming into a house is available to contribute towards paying a rent, that has to be taken into account when setting those limits and so on and so forth. Yeah, like I think on the affordability piece, the concept of cost rental is based on this sustainability aspect, that it's not a one-time thing, and that it is sustainable and repeatable. But just trying to make sure, keep a very close eye on the affordability aspect as well, which will be, naturally something, you go to IKEA, you buy your couch for €300. That €300 is going to be slightly more affordable to some people and slightly less affordable to some other people, but should still be fundamentally affordable and a good quality option for them. And I guess that's where cost rental is trying to land.
Okay, and so John, I have another question for you. I spent a long time on Dublin City Council and with huge frustration have witnessed decades pass with very, little delivery of social housing. I appreciate the local authority didn't have the legislation or the schemes there to provide affordable rental or affordable purchase over the last decade or so. But can you just tell us, the Land Development Agency working with this affordable legislation, what's going to be the tangible difference, in terms of time, in terms of quantity of homes? We've talked a lot about the affordability, but really I think what people are very keen to know is how real is this going to be and when?
Yeah, I think that the difference, Senator, I think comes down to scale. We're not a massive country. We have a lot of different local authorities. We would like to develop repeatable processes, repeatable approaches to financing, and you can get better value for money when it comes to finance. Say, for instance, if we borrow, you can borrow at much cheaper rates at scale than you can on individual projects. And it's much easier for lenders like the European Investment Bank to understand what we're offering as opposed to dealing with a multitude of individual operators. So particularly for somewhere like cost rental, I think that makes a lot of sense to try and, consolidating our efforts here for all of our colleagues that are producing affordable housing. So that's where I see the big benefit. Scale, repeatability of processes, and the ability to move nimbly as well on things like the financing of cost rental, which we have the ability to do.
Okay, and who will be the shareholders in the LDA?
It's the Ministers for PER and the Ministers for Housing.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.